British school experience. So I did go to a British school. I mean, everyone who went to school in South Asia went to a British school because all the schools are there are British. I can already tell that it's gonna have a lot of posh things. So let's see what's up.
Do the British school experience. Okay, I'll do my experience. The old iPhone alarm drags you out of sleep like a fire drill, and you instantly feel disgusting. It's a damp, grey British morning that just reeks of potential learning. Your mouth tastes like you've munched on a carpet, hair stuck to your forehead, eyes burning like you've slept under a radiator. You put on the legendary uniform in that typical lazy neek fashion. Tie loosened into a fat knot worn low.
Wait, I have a question. Does every British school in the UK have a uniform? Where I live, every school have a uniform, no matter what you school. In America, they don't.
Tie, so you shove it into your blazer pocket until
I
you arrive at hell.
uniform,
Shirt
though.
untucked to one side, because wearing the
school.
uniform slightly wrong is the closest thing you've got to a form of independence at 7 in the morning. You throw your super dry jacket on top even if it's summer. This is your school equivalent of a Rolex. It is your armor. You check your phone. It's one of those old white iPhones with a crack in the back that looks like a spiderweb bukkake. Back in the good old days, people used to crack theirs on purpose sometimes just to drip dye into the glass so it looked custom. Breaking one of your most expensive possessions at that age for a form of social status just sums up teenage life. You've cracked yours by accident, but you still act like you're fucking Gok Wan. Or you had this utter beast, a BlackBerry.
Oh, this is insane. I'm not gonna lie. Back in the days, anyone who had BlackBerry, they're getting all of it. I had a Nokia.
Brush your teeth in the morning, but your BBM pin, oh, that fucker's engraved into your frontal lobe. Spare battery for the BlackBerry chucked into your Gola man bag for later. And on the way to school, you do the holy pilgrimage to the boss man shop. Unless you get the bus, I guess. But I've already done that, and I'm not going back there. Because school's first lesson of the day is the local corner shop. You buy the typical 23p emerge and a Freddo, because the taste of battery acid gives you a sense of rebellion, as well as ambition for the day ahead. You watch your fellow peers build their breakfast like it's an experiment. Someone's got a packet of Space Raiders or Transformers, and you remember those old school Echo bars? Someone else is down in one of those bloody Boost energy drinks that taste like melted, statically charged Haribos.
It's probably gonna taste like weed. Let's give it a whirl.
Tropical Lucasade is getting passed around like it's medicinal. Someone outside the shop is spray painting the floors and walls with their Turbo Tango. Can I just say, what an iconic beverage this was. Half of the crowd has the legendary yellow JD bags hanging off one shoulder, and the counterfeit Beats by Dre that were definitely bought in Marmaris, clamped over their ears like status symbols. Listening to Gob2 on Spotify because apparently he posts all of his videos early over there. Top line in the description. I would really appreciate it. Wrists are jangling with bloody shag bands. Blazer pockets are stuffed with bendy rulers, essentially the school equivalent of a shank. And there's always that one fat
As far as I remember, I had that as well, but in my school, they was taken away from me. You know how strict my school was? Like, you cannot have hair longer than this length. Your pants have to be this wide. I've seen literally teachers, if your pants is like too fitted or too not fitted, they would literally get you new pants. They need to go change them in the toilets. And tomorrow, you make sure you get your original pants fixed and you bring the pants that you borrowed back. I felt like I was going to like a prison every single day. I'm not even kidding.
That kid trying to do tech deck tricks on the wall like he's Tony Pork. If someone asks you what the typical British school starter pack was, you would answer something like cool maths games, a dodgy USB with portable Minecraft, Randor Fizz from the canteen, fake cola that tastes like vegetable matter,
that's so
crit
bad.
sticks, smacking your mate with that stick that goes in the hot glue gun, stealing your nan's amber leaf 3-in-1 packet, the legendary wooden bench, the JD bag stuffed with a PE kit that you forgot to wash, Lynx deodorant sprayed so thick it's probably the only time you could call a school a concentration camp, Tamagotchis you found in a bush outside a primary school, and a planner that's never held a timetable, never had any real use apart from being used as roach card with your Bark 3.5, and at least, I guess, one phallic drawing, one broken earphone discussing what you did last night on Black Ops 1. I mean, the list just goes on. But this is why I have you nutters in the comment section section below. As you get a bit closer to the school gates,
Okay.
the vibe starts to shift. It feels like walking through airport security.
This is the
at
main
times.
part.
Not exactly fear, more like entering a very loud aquarium where the fish can talk and some of them are sharks. Bullies are posted up by the wall like they're on shift, scanning for targets for their pitiful entertainment. A couple of cool kids are starting on the nicotine addiction early, smoking like it's a rite of passage, huddled behind the bike sheds,
Wait,
exhaling
what?
pale smoke into the
Is
cold
that not
air and
illegal?
acting like they weren't watching Thomas the Tank Engine 5 years prior. You give them some room, don't you? Because you're not trying to start off your day with lending the local school nitties a quid. At the doors or somewhere nearby, there's always that one teacher doing the uniform checks. Shirts in,
No,
ties
because
up,
the
your
British
skirt's
schools
a
have
bit
that as
too
well.
high, love. I got that one a lot, obviously, because I was a total slut. You perform that little magic trick, don't you, where you tug your tie a little bit higher for a few seconds and then drop it the moment you realise you're not being...
So, okay, so I thought that British schools didn't have that, but apparently I was wrong. It's basically army training, I'm telling you. I'm so jealous of the American kids that don't have to wear a uniform. But you know what? There was no one in my class telling me to go under the desk when there's an attack. I was safe in my school, so at least I would rather have that.
The moment you realise you're not being spectated, the corridor hits you with the usual stench cocktail, links, damp coats, floor cleaner, poor teenage hygiene, and that faint background scent of pencil sharpenings that never truly leaves the building. Lockers slam. I remember when lockers were implemented in my school. Oh, let's give them a sense of independence.
My
they
schools didn't
thought.
have lockers.
I'm sure they're going to keep them clean and definitely not use them as a way to get out of class because they've left something in them that is just essential for their learning. Definitely not going to store forgotten lunches that end up turning into contaminated balls of dust. People shout across the hallway like they're trying to communicate with the International Space Station.
Shut up, you bald prick.
You walk down the corridor trying to avoid the inevitable game of human pinball. It's truly magical, isn't it? The walls or notice boards are plastered with flyers, sports day, uniform warnings, no chewing gum, and the canteen menu flyers promising pasta king like it's premium
My
grub.
school didn't have a canteen menu.
Form time means collapsing into one of those plastic chairs you're not allowed to lean back on, even though they've literally been designed to bend backwards, it seems. You're sitting there, your chair's on two legs, holding underneath the desk that's riddled with chewing gum that's been there since the 80s, almost like it's a fossil record of boredom. Assembly is the slow march into the hall that doubles as a school gym. Everyone walking into the hall makes the sounds of thousands of
Yes,
small
this
rodents.
I'm gonna be honest. I cannot relate to because assemblies. Because I used to play football, so and assemblies I always used to skip. The days when I'd have no training because the coach was ill or something. This shit was ours, and ours didn't even happen in like a covered place for the first half of the school because they thought that it'd be amazing if we just did it in the sun. It's like 45 degrees in the summer. A couple kids are just collapsing at the back of the line, but you know what? Fuck it. Who cares, man?
Of thousands of small rodents being stepped on, it seems. All due to that mass amount of effort put in by the school janitor. That's the only part of the school they seem
Sick
to
guy.
put any form of effort into. And along the walls and stacked across the room, you can see the Museum of Unused Equipment. Wooden benches are stacked up like a base on that video game Rust. Climbing frame is in the corner. Has anyone in their entire school life actually used the fucking climbing frame? I'll tell you what, it's the
Mine didn't
dirtiest
have
tax
one.
write-off of all time. Is it because we don't have our stepladder qualifications? Or is it because we are permitted to have no form of fucking entertainment? And then you've got that relic in the middle of the hall, that one rope just dangling from the ceiling. Kind of feels like a metaphor, doesn't it? Yeah, this is what you'll need if you don't get your GCSEs, lad. I mean, I'm sure that's never been
so
said,
true.
but that's how I'm sure a lot of us felt. The staff get the luxury wooden bench seating. Oh, and if you're in year 6, you might have the honour of sitting on it as well. If the staff aren't sitting on the bench, they're pacing up and down the front of the assembly hall like they're about to fucking command you into battle, scare us with their excellence. Bloody elevated, egotistical bellends. While you're sat there, bloody
Huh.
cross-legged on the floor, trying
Not
to
gonna
pretend
lie,
that you're
I got to sit there once every year whenever if we win like something in football.
I'm going numb. The head teacher strolls around talking about standards and pride while we're sat there on the fucking floor. Everyone quickly adjusts their ties the moment uniform gets mentioned, and then you've got the different houses. Like we're at fucking Hogwarts. House points and the promise of a tiny little star on
those.
your blazer for being such a special little prick. Like an Oscar for entering puberty.
Yeah, it's a
Lessons
sign of
start and it's
nerds.
like being dropped into multiple different realities every hour. Science just smells like like gas and hot dust. I swear all the science teachers just smell of cigarettes. They're the only ones that do. You've got those big fuck off clunky goggles that are scratched so badly even Ray Charles could...
Funny enough, I still have them. Welcome to my laboratory where safety is number one priority. If you know that guy, you've had a good childhood on YouTube.
See more. The teacher explains safety and how you shouldn't mess around with certain things located across the classroom. They turn around and instantly you've got a little fascist there twisting the gas tap just enough to stink the entire room out. Later on, you're in the workshop doing DT, that Tinder trap house that smells of sawdust and hot glue. And again, the second the teacher looks away, someone's tightening that big blue vice that you've got on the tables onto a pen just to hear it crack, allowing his teenage destructive thoughts to win once again. You're trying to read something on the whiteboard and your teacher's doing everything to make that task near enough impossible. The interactive whiteboard either doesn't work, the teacher doesn't have enough brain cells to use it, or it's just completely uncalibrated. You've got IT lessons where you'd plug in these plastic stethoscope fucking headphones into your phone just to listen to iYaz or Chitty Bang while you're sat there pretending to work, secretly updating your Bebo profile or sending that bloody BJ emoji to your mates on MSN. I remember trying to complete every possible outcome on Grow Island while chewing
I remember there was I forgot the game, but there was like a puzzle game which is really famous. We used to play that and we completed the game on those PCs. That's how shit school was.
While chewing Trident gum. And don't get me started on your pencil case. It's a crime scene, isn't it? You've got your trusty Wiz Khalifa,
I never took those
an absolutely battered black and yellow pencil, a Pritt stick that's either missing a top or welded completely shut, an exploded pen, and another one that only works if you shake it enough. And in the back of your head, you can still hear primary school warnings about lead poisoning, while you're trying to remember how to do that bloody finger spacing, aren't you? Because back then, handwriting seemed to be treated like a safety drill. Break time hits harder than your abusive stepfather. The playground and AstroTurfs fill instantly, and the whole school magnetizes into its different cliques.
Because
you've got the
lunchtime in my school was like 20 minutes, which is insane because it was 30 for the teachers.
Fill instantly and the whole school magnetizes into its different cliques. You've got the popular group who are only really friends because their parents are bum buddies. They throw these legendary house parties that consist of ciders, cigs, and maybe one singular pill. Oh, and if you don't get the reference to something that happened there over the weekend because you weren't there, you're socially ridiculed the following week. You've got the nerds who hang out in the library. They sit there making a game on Scratch, creating animated lightsaber battles on Pivot, discussing which Warhammer goblin they're going to paint when they get home. And another group I like to call the peaked in high school, essentially very broken individuals. Their popularity comes from the fact that they smoke, don't wear the uniform correctly, and always
I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to be this when I was in school so bad, but I was like a few levels below this, and I'm so happy that I was, because no one who was that did anything in life after that.
Attention or isolation, and overall they're seen as really cool individuals. In school, that is, obviously, because a few years later after leaving, they're seen as unemployed junkies. Then finally you have the people who don't really fit into a group. They're kind of just friends with people from all the different groups.
This was me.
I guess you could say a kind of a perfect middle ground, but in some cases this can lead to ridicule of its own. Bullies can easily fit into all of these.
You know what the ridiculous that is? That you end up with no friends from school, but you have no haters.
Bullies can easily fit into all of these different categories. You've got the nerdy bully who gets all the other nerds laughing when he makes you look like a mug because you thought an isosceles was a dinosaur. You've got the popular kid bully who has a Gola bag and a Superdry jacket and bullies you for wearing a Lonsdale bag and your dad's old coat. And then you've got the peaked in high school bullies. Well, it's, I guess, kind of obvious, isn't it? What, you don't want to be an uneducated waste of space, mate? Oh, that's boring, that, mate. Fucking nerd. Oh, my parents don't love me and I have a really bad time with dealing with my emotions, so I'm just going to take out all of my insecurities on you because you seem like you're a lot happier, you fat cunt. As a new kid, you either never truly find your place and are ridiculed until you leave, or you have to lie your way into a position of popularity, telling everyone things that you did at your old school that definitely did not happen, but you know they have no way of proving otherwise. Or you're just this troublesome little twat only one school. 1 week of being there has just decided to be the worst behaved kid in the entire school. Inevitably, you're kicked out for jumping on multiple teachers' cars. Yes, this is one story of something that happened at the school I went to. And yes, the bastard was absolutely massive.
You know what? The stories that my school kids used to make, like the seniors, it's so crazy now that I speak about it. But they used to make stories of the fact that they beat up the PE teacher when they saw him around the block because he used to live down the block from them. At the time, I thought this was true, but now that I think about it, there's no way a couple 15-year-olds beat up a 45-year-old.
Where around the school, you've got a game of slaps going on, a school fight being spectated by miniature Harry Hills, episode 47 of You've Been Put in a Headlock. Somewhere else, it's a game of knuckles. You're all laughing while your hands just
Some
sting
fights
and
as well.
pour with blood, because apparently that's social bonding, isn't it? The smokers sneak into their usual spots, hands cupped around lighters like a cultish ritual. Bullies hover around the place like sharks, circling the younger kids or anyone who has a better parental upbringing than them. You queue at the canteen window for some food. Mini fucking pizzas. I don't know about you lads, but I just remember buying like 8 of the buggers, and just they were cooked so badly that you could just rip the entire top off them. You'd keep the bottom of 2 of them and make this big bloody sandwich. Oh my god, it was immense. You wash it all down with one of those off-brand colas that brags about vegetable extracts like it was written by
And you know what
Sharing.
the worst part about those is? It just says fucking cola. I still don't know what brand that is.
Pasticking yet because that's lunchtime grub. If you graze your knee while playing footy, twist your ankle, or somehow break both of your legs, the solution is always the same. A blue wet paper towel. Here you go, love. See how you feel at lunch. Somewhat still more reliable than the NHS. You'll be limping, near tears, and all they'll hand you is that sad damp tissue like it's paper-fied morphine. Honestly, if someone got hit by a bus outside, the head teacher would probably just pop out with a wet paper towel and tell you to walk it off. Anything to avoid paperwork. School toilets, you say? They're a fucking nightmare. I'd honestly rather use a public toilet in Luton than use one of these buggers. Your fellow peers act like these little excrement debt collectors, kicking down the door or looking at you from over the top of one of the...
If you are taking a shit in school, you took a big L, bro. Like, luckily, I never did that. I vanked in a school toilet before. I've said this before, but I never shat.
Stalls. You have become a teenage mutant mid-turtle, and I genuinely think this is why we appreciate a good dump as an adult. After break, the day slows down like you're stuck switching between Trevor and Franklin in GTA 5. Everyone's half asleep, staring at the whiteboard, doodling willies in the margins. The ADHD kid is making paper aeroplanes and flicking the elastic little bands they got with their braces. Teachers start saying GCSE and BTEC every 3 minutes like that's suddenly gonna educate us. If anything, it gives us this sense of impending doom. Like learning Pythagoras is gonna help me when I'm working in Greg's in 2 years' time. The fat class clown is doing his best to make the entire class laugh so we can avoid comments at lunchtime about chicken wings flying out of his asshole. The educational books come out, don't they? The ones your parents have to buy you online. The legendary CGP books, where you've got that mug mascot on the front wearing sunglasses and a cap. It's almost like some genius at the English coordination group said, yeah, let's make this educational mascot look cool as fuck, because education is what? Cool. You flip it open and it's just full of forced bullshit and exam tips, and you sit there just highlighting random lines just so it looks like
I did that as well to look good. You know what?
The
I did that so that my parents would think I was studying, but that got patched.
desk, you're channeling your inner Wanksy, drawing phallic objects on your planner. Oh, and you can't forget the iconic graffiti S. Apart from that one classroom that's being taught by an inexperienced cover teacher, lunch is definitely the loudest part of the day. A chaotic shit show of trays, gossip, and food genocide. You grab a pasta.
Didn't you already talk about lunch before? Was that not lunch when you talked about? What the fuck was that then?
Feels like the closest thing to a hot meal, whereas the actual hot meals, well, it's just slop, isn't it? You sit down with your friends before your seats get nicked. Packed lunches get opened with a strange level of anxiety. Are you about to get bullied for your corned beef sandwich, or go down a legend because you've got Billy Bear ham? You trade your lunch like your Minecraft Steve in a farming village. Space Raiders.
My
for
lunch
a
is
bite
always was decent,
someone's
I think.
pasta,
I-
a boost
I
bar
took
for a
home-cooked
sip
lunch.
of tropical Lucasade, and you all sit there and complain about school while not realising the impending doom of adult life that lurks around the fucking corner. At some point during this, your mind drifts back to primary school.
Do you know what I
Primary
think? I don't think school is a problem. Problem is the school system. The reason of that is independency. We don't feel like we have any control of our life when we are in school. And it's good when you are below the age of 11, 12. After that, you need some sort of control on your life, which you don't have when you are in school. That's why I think the school system needs to change. Especially with the online stuff now, I think that needs to change.
Smaller, slower, and somehow a lot stickier. The best part of your day was glue. Not creating art, not sniffing it, just glue. Pritt sticks, big bottles of PVA, the little legendary white spatulas you'd use to cover your hands in glue just to peel it off like you're a disgusting little hormonal snake. Showing everyone in your class the spectacle like you're Thomas Edison. The left-handed scissors were legendary, weren't they? A special pair that made you left-handed people a target, like you'd just chosen to be a difficult prick on purpose. Why did we commit GBH on our rubbers? I will never know. PE meant putting on these stompers, plimsolls, essentially Poundland condoms for your feet, then running around on wooden benches and dusty mats like you're in a CBeebies version of
This wasn't my
Takeshi's
PE.
Castle. You're all grown up.
Again, because I used to play football, my PE was just go play football and train with the coach.
Now, you've even got tattoos that look like they were made in Microsoft Word art. And then December arrives, and you had to become an actor against your will. The school nativity is a universal trauma bond. Tea towels on heads, tinsel halos shedding glitter into your hairline. I covered this in my Christmas video. I shall not delve into this again. The mental image says enough, doesn't it? I remember the whole school getting marched to church before you break up for Christmas. You sit in those lovely wooden pews, trying not to laugh at the phenomenon of what we like to call an echo, singing hymns like Silent Night, my personal favourite being Three Hairy Camels, while the adults act like this is the cutest and most holiest moment of your life. And all you're thinking about is bloody match attacks and if you circled enough in the Argos catalogue. Then there's the legendary tea towel portrait. You draw a self-portrait like it's the first time you've ever picked up a fucking pen. They
drawings.
print out everyone's Mona Lisa on these lovely white tea towels, and your mum still has it in a drawer somewhere, doesn't she?
No.
As if this piece of cloth belongs in a museum. The secondary school has its own weird rituals, don't get me wrong, but collectively, nothing makes everyone lose their minds like a good old-fashioned sports day.
You know what the-
Suddenly, the house...
Now that you talk about the thing about your mom keeping things, you know what the crazy thing is? I've said this before, but I have won a national gold medal in football when I was playing for under 17s for the state team. And my mom is amazing woman, but she unfortunately threw that away. And now I don't have that medal. I have a certificate, but I don't have the medal anymore. I also have a picture in the newspaper, just in case if you think I'm lying. But now that I hear someone else's mom keeping a towel, I feel so sad that my mom threw mine away.
Secondary school has its own weird rituals, don't get me wrong, but collectively, nothing makes everyone lose their minds like a good old-fashioned sports day. Suddenly, the house system that we spoke about in the start of the video actually has a purpose. You're in your colours, wearing your custom high school PE kit, screaming yourself hoarse for someone that you've barely spoken to in your entire school career. The head teacher is acting like the relay race will affect the school's standing with Ofsted. If you're in primary school, your parents are on the sidelines watching your peak athleticism, while you obviously sit there on the grass
Peak.
because as much as the education system wants you to act mature, it insists in treating you like an immature bottom feeder. It's better than lessons though, isn't it? So we move on.
Yeah.
The PE teacher has taken a break from hitting on underage girls and is in full command mode. The only time of the year his skills and profession is actually judged. He's got a whistle around his neck, sunburn is blooming, yelling like he's just been caught in a live stream non-sting operation. Your PE teacher is always a nonce for the most part. Not because anyone actually...
Yeah, I don't understand why, but this is a global thing. Every school have at least one or maybe even two PE teachers that are nonsense.
hard evidence just because either your dad said he is, or it's the fact that schools are run on rumours and teenage villain arcs. Kids in plimsolls
Nah,
slip around
they
because
always
they
talk to
forgot
the
their
little
trainers.
girls.
Someone face plants in the sack race. The fat kids having a bloody boost bar because back then we believed that they were essentially speed. And years later, when you actually leave school, you watch British TV shows about school and realise they did actually quite a good job at capturing the chaos, didn't they? Just in different flavours, I suppose. The in-betweeners kind of feels like someone hid a camera in your form room. You've got the awkwardness, the low-level humiliation, bullies, and the staff who just kind of don't give a shit. Then you've got Skins. If you haven't seen this show, you
haven't
have
seen
not
this.
lived. In Skins, school life is
Okay.
technically
Yes.
about education,
Spoke too
but
soon.
mostly about surviving emotional chaos. Classes happen somewhere in the background, which is kind of like a perfect visualization of
Is
how
this like,
the
is this like
majority
the British version of High School Musicals? I've never seen this.
actually saw school. But the real curriculum in the show is heartbreak, raging identity crises, messy friendships, wild weekend benders that turn into drug addictions. It's less focus on your A levels and more focus on not ruining your life before lunchtime. And at the end of the day, no wonder it's so fucking relatable. And then you have the honourable mention, of course, Waterloo Road, an EastEnders version of high school where school life
Haven't seen
kind of
this either,
becomes
but I
a
know of this.
weekly emergency, but still uses the school as a lens of sort for bigger social issues like bullying, family chaos, and inappropriate student and teacher relationships. And somewhere in the middle of all of that is the real core experience of a British school, just slightly less cinematic, but I'm sure we can all agree, just as memorable. The final bell goes, your tie is stuffed into your pocket, the super dry jacket back over your shoulders, your phone's on 2% from excessive amounts of Flappy Bird. Without realizing it, you were living the kind of moments that turn into precious memories. The kind you laugh about long after the uniform's gone and you no longer hear the bell ring.
I mean, I had a similar life then. I mean, at the end of the day, as I said, I knew that they follow a British curriculum, so